video in a while. I actually got really mad because I had a video ready to put together and somehow it got deleted. It was actually my homemade deodorant video, so it was fairly interesting. This one's going to be a little bit bumpy because I decided to just do it while I was driving so I could at least just get it videoed. The main reason you haven't seen any videos in a while is because I'm in the process of moving. I say the phrase "in the process" because moving is a process that takes so long. Even when you're in the next house, all of the unpacking, all the trying to get rid of stuff and get things how you want them and how you need them, and especially when you and your significant other both work full-time jobs and then some. Not to mention I'm still trying to do some school right now too. So it's been rough. The few times that I've been able to work on unpacking, I've just been tired and wanted to eat because I haven't even been able to eat much. A lot of fast food, which definitely makes you feel awful. So the main point of this video, it's not going to be showing you anything, demonstrating anything. It's more about talking about simplicity. Simplicity is something that has been very special to me. I've always wanted to live a simple, natural life, but just like everybody else, I have my days. I get, if you want to say, corrupted by the world and get into this mainstream idea of having the best of everything and looking a certain way to appease other people, because that's why you need to look a certain way, so other people think something of you. I have a lot of thoughts and opinions on this type of thing. Too much to even make a video about. It all began when I was a kid one day. I got into the typical, oh, I need to have this type of car, I need to have this house, I need to have this and that. And one day it hit me, why? Why? So you start thinking about why on different things. I was the type of kid that always asked why to everything. You start asking why about these things, and then you realize there's not a good reason why. So of course I grow up, become a teenager. I'm worried about boys and all that type of thing. Worried about popularity contests, about looking a certain way. And then I started struggling with what I later found out was anxiety. And then I also later started struggling with depression. And those were things that developed partially because of history on both sides of my family, and then partially because of different things I went through in my life that just kind of set me back emotionally and mentally. It happens to everybody. So one day I was driving this exact same road. Actually, it's a beautiful, beautiful twisting, winding road. I'm actually going over the Kentucky River right now, and it's gorgeous. We're not going to get into the pollution aspect though, because that's not so gorgeous. Beautiful road. And that's whenever I was still living in the townhouse, and I was coming back to visit my family, and I was so unhappy. I hated my life. I just wanted to cry. I didn't know what to do, what I needed to do. So then, some jerk in the middle of the road for no reason. I was driving through and just looking at how beautiful everything was. The trees were all, you know, starting to leaf out, and it was all green and beautiful. And there's this one farm that always has deer. And so I was looking for the deer to see if I could see them from the road this time. And of course to also make sure they didn't jump out in front of me, because who wants to die from deer? But I was trying to think back to when the last time that I was truly happy, and what I would need to do to get back to that point. So the last time that I was truly happy was when I was in nature. That's whenever I did not worry about what other people thought of me. I had my dogs at home that I would spend all day with. I would wrestle them and roll with them, take naps with them. And even though I was a teenager, I still didn't care what people thought of me when it came to playing with my dogs and loving them and having dog fur all over me and just enjoying them. And me and my dog Dietz would actually sit outside together at night and just look up at the stars. Now, of course, he was really not looking at the stars. He was checking out to make sure nobody was in his neighborhood. But just look at the stars together and just appreciate the beauty of nature. I had some family friends, I call them my adopted grandparents, that lived out in the middle of nowhere, and we would always go and spend a week with them in the summer and then go spend weekends with them every now and then, ever since I was kids. And my favorite time there was the fall, because during the fall I would go out into the forest, and of course you can see everything because all the leaves are falling and you can see through the trees, and I would just take off running. Now, not the smartest idea, because this is where a lot of like those random pop-up cliffs are and stuff like that, but I didn't have to worry about snakes or anything because it was in the fall. And I would just take off running just to see where I could get. So whenever I had this epiphany, when I was driving this windy highway, is whenever I realized I needed to stop giving a crap about what other people thought about me. I needed to stop worrying about what car I drove, what I looked like, if I had some big fancy house, which I've never wanted that, by the way. I needed to quit worrying about those things and do everything I could to get back to nature. Now, obviously, I am not an extremist. I never have been. And I realized if I did it in an extreme way, I would probably get back into my depression. So I realized I should probably take baby steps. And that's what this whole channel is about. So I took a somewhat baby step, somewhat larger step. I was unhappy living in town in my townhouse, and I was away from my family except for my sister who lived next door. As my mom would say, that was just a God thing because we did not plan that, but we really needed it both in our lives then, and it ended up being a really good thing. But I was not happy living there. I lived right behind a gas station, a mechanic. I didn't have a yard. I couldn't really plant anything. When I planted in the ground, I don't even know if I even have permission to do that, to be honest. I couldn't have all my animals I wanted. I wasn't even supposed to have all my cats that I had. I was supposed to only have one cat and some caged animals. Either way, I wasn't happy. I couldn't have a dog. Any of that. Dogs are essential in my life. And I really I had a lot of issues with my depression and stuff while living there. I also had a lot of things at work going on and drama things that it was not a good place. I worked a lot of hours doing a lot of crap in fast food. The people you deal with in fast food are not the best people either. It was just a really hard time for me. So we finally decided to move back home, back closer to our family, and find a house. The house I found is still in town, but it is on a very quiet street. Alright, I have full reign of the yard. It's not a huge yard by any means, but it does have a fence, and I can do what I want with it. So that is very fun. I haven't been able to do a ton yet. But the house is also an older house. I don't know when this house was built, to be honest, but it was a bit ago. I love older houses. My boyfriend hates them. I love them. There's just a certain charm and quirk about them. Going from a townhouse that is not the newest, but fairly new, going from a townhouse to a really old house has its challenges. I did not realize how spoilt I was until we moved. I will never regret it. I mean, I absolutely love it. And I know my boyfriend gets really frustrated because right now we're dealing with stuff like ants and toilets not wanting to work right and stuff like that. But that's also the perks of renting, is my landlord has to take care of it. But I'm more conscientious of how I live now. So small things about living in an older house that people that live in different houses, they already know about, but I have been spoiled to and have to get used to. And these are all super superficial things. Things such as not having a dishwasher. Who likes washing dishes? Don't nobody like it. Okay, well sometimes it is therapeutic, but not having a dishwasher. We don't have central air anymore. I wanted to do my best to not use central air this year when I lived back in the townhouse, but it got really hot. So I don't have central air. Let me think. Part of my house is caving in. All these little quirky things. I've got the old school windows that don't hold in no lick of heater air. The good old school glass windows. If those suckers fall on my cats are done. But all these things, it helps me live a simpler life, and I'm grateful for it. I mean, I'm the one that's wanting to start living this way and wanting to be appreciative for the things in life and work harder. It's not a crazy amount smaller than the townhouse, but the floor area in general is a bit smaller. The layout is different, and it also has baseboard heaters, so you can't really put a lot up against it. And doing that really helped me with getting rid of stuff. I know that sounds so silly just talking about getting rid of stuff, but I grow attached to a lot of things. I'm a pack rat. I get emotionally attached to stuff for no reason whatsoever. And I always think someone's going to need this someday, or I might need this someday. And 5 years down the road, I still have not used it. So being able to purge and get rid of that stuff, and to me, I was like, this is helping me get into the house. And having that purpose of why I needed to get rid of things and slimming down, it just keeps on. Like I keep on getting things down, and I just don't have so many things bogging me down around my house. I'm still working on this process. I mean, I haven't gotten it all done, but I've gotten enough that I've gotten my stuff in my house, and I just have the extra boxes to go through. But I got rid of furniture and everything, and it really makes you stop to think, do I need this? Do I have to have this? Is this essential to my life? And guess what? Most of the time it's not. We even got rid of one of our couches, and we only have a love seat. And my view on that, my boyfriend kept saying, well, what if people come over, they're not going to have anywhere to sit? And I'm like, well, we'll bring them some chairs to sit in. But when it comes down to it, this is our house that we live in. And even though I love to have people over and such, we have to think about our needs and not about everyone else. And it sounds selfish living that way, but when you live that way, you're humbled, and you just don't have so much stuff. I don't know how else to say this, but it was extremely therapeutic for me to be able to just purge and get rid of things and realize I don't need this. Another thing about living a simple life, other than wanting to get back to nature and all that crap, another thing that a lot of people don't think about because they don't deal with it, or because they haven't tried it to help their situation, is living a life to where you have to be more active. You have to do more things. You have animals. You have to take care of them or they'll die, you know? Having stuff like that is really good for people with anxiety and depression. But the depression, it really helps to have a schedule and to stick to it and have a purpose. If you do not have a purpose, that's when you legit always, every time, will have a depressive episode. Anxiety, it's kind of the same thing. It can be therapeutic to people at times to have a schedule, have set things they have to do, and not always be at the fly of their seat. So these things can really help. For me, they help, and then also there are times that if I have too much on my plate and I'm constantly going, sometimes it gets to me and I burn out, and then I have my little depressive episode, and then I snap out of it and I'm okay. Other times you don't snap out of it, but a lot of those times I was living with my parents, so of course your mom will just kind of pick up the slack. And so this time I don't have mama to pick up the slack. So trying to think if there's anything else. I know this one, like I said, is just talking, and a lot of people don't even want to hear all this crap I'm talking about. But if I could help one person with figuring out how to help with the way they're living and they're not happy about it, and then also just share my story, those are the two main things I wanted to do with this channel. I want to be able to share my story with other people. I want to be able to help people get to do things they want to do, or help realize things that they can try doing in their life. And then also trying things for people so they don't have to try it. They can see my results and be like, oh yeah, that one girl, she did that and it did not work out. So I'm trying to find some more projects to try on here to show you guys. My deodorant project, it was a really good video too. I'm gonna have to make a new one. My dog's going crazy because we're home now from work. That's right, I've got my dog back. But yeah, the whole point of this video is a simple life is a happy life. And no matter what, for me, the more stuff I try to cram, superficial things that I have to worry about, the less happy I'm gonna be. So hit the comments if you have any ideas of any more videos I can make or any more things I can try, and I will definitely try to find some time to get some more going. Bye y'all.